Okay. So, hello everybody for our school session. And I would encourage everybody to a little bit move closer, maybe it's more comfortable. But anyhow, our first presenter, Maie Kiisel, will tell us about the educational divide for sustainable development. So I think that raises a lot of questions and would be of great interest. So I give the floor to Maie.
Thank you. My name is Maie Kiisel and I teach PR practitioners. And what I evaluate in my teaching is critical thinking, analysis, strategic planning, creativity, and first of all, getting to know the target groups we address. However, I got really disappointed when I found out that when my students started to return from their internships, they hardly used any analytical thinking or strategic planning. They were just doing things. And what actually took place was that they met their supervisor, older one at the organization, and they started to imitate what the supervisor was already doing, and also the supervisor gave advice how to do things. Then I started thinking, I started teaching students at the age of 23. What do you think how experienced I was? I felt really bad. I sensed that there's something wrong, that I do not reach the students. What I actually knew to do was to give lectures and home tasks and feedback. And I felt that it doesn't work. I started taking courses. I got some new tips, but it still didn't get any better. But one day I bumped into a colleague. We had to do our teaching project together, and when I watched my colleague teaching, I thought that, wow, this is what I want to do. And I started to imitate my colleague. And of course, it didn't suit me that well, and I started to accommodate it. And then I understood that learning is not about reflecting all the time. I learn by imitation, accommodation, and bodily accommodation. And I found out that there are theoreticians who have also came to the same conclusion. We know that Piaget and Vygotsky have said that children learn by imitation, and then by getting older they transfer to more reflective ways of learning. However, what LYKE and Wenger, cognitive anthropologists, say is that we do not transfer to reflective ways of learning, but we still keep to the children ways of learning. We do not abandon this, and we still learn also by imitation. And this is even a bigger emphasis in our learning than our reflective ways of learning. Learning by reading, learning by discussing things. And LYKE and Wenger claim that we live in practice communities of profession. We want to become more professional. We watch more professional people do their work. We imitate them. We are also practitioners of shopping, practitioners of driving a car. When we learn driving a car, we first watch how the others are doing it. Then we try to imitate it, and when we are skilled enough, we inhabit our own ways of driving, for example. And this is how we get more professional in many things in life, and the role of critical reflection and linguistic interaction is marginal. And I wanted to know what happens if I put their ideas into environmental education. I looked through some of students' research projects that I've supervised and looked for the ideas of LYKE and Wenger, and I saw it everywhere. I also say that I'm going to show you some vignettes, but I have changed all the pictures because many people feel uncomfortable when their work is showed as a presentation material. Wolfgang said that learning takes place everywhere, not just school environment. However, my students visited kindergartens and schools, and they mainly used observing. What is the interaction between teachers and pupils and children? What is the school environment or kindergarten environment? How do the school books look like, etc.? And what did I find out? It is certainly no news to you that in their early age, children learn to separate between things, separate between their self and mother. And they also learn to separate between nature and non-nature. And for example, when you look at the children's drawings, we saw that there were particular images on those drawings when they had to draw nature. And there were particular items I didn't see on those pictures. For example, a kindergarten was replaced between a wasteland and industrial area. I didn't see any industry or any wasteland or garbage on those pictures. I saw flowers on those pictures, but no weeds. Therefore, we are already at the age of 4 or 6 cultivated to notice things in particular ways. Up to 3 years, the children look at everything, and everything is important to them. It's pretty tiring. And so you see that the teacher asks for what is the nature, and the children, by unconscious imitation, come to a conclusion that houses and cars and dragons and pirates are not nature. Teachers, pupils and children learn to localize nature. For example, there was a boy who was absolutely sure that nature is at Granny's place. For example, we asked, is it the sea at your picture? And the boy said, no, it's at Granny's. But it's a completely different thing, whether the pollution is at the sea or is it at Granny's place. Is it in somewhere abstract and distant place, or is it in my own place, at my Granny's place? And certainly a lot of mediated nature appeared on the pictures. We asked from the children, have you ever seen this animal or rainbow or whatever? They said, no, I haven't never seen it, but I know it is drawn this way. Therefore, what children learn is separation and localization, and they also learn to understand where the nature isn't and where we shouldn't speak of nature. What about school books? What do we learn from here? Firstly, we learn to separate things, and we learn to name those. Is it bunny or a rabbit, a crocodile or an alligator? We learn to transfer human ways of expression to creatures such as a crocodile or a shark. They're smiling. And we learn to use colors. We learn to play with signs so that the signs have no connection to nature anymore. You see, there is usually in children's books there are no background. And the items, the creatures, are in the same size. And we do not care in children's books biological diversity. For example, a crocodile and a bunny, can we find them in Estonia now? And I asked, what is the community the children are getting closer what community is it when what the children get closer to while doing this kind of things, while painting butterflies, etc. And they came to a conclusion that this community is a community of mediation and communication, and the children achieve the mastery in mediation. They learn to skip their own natural and direct experience, and they learn to rely on mediated experience. We learn to skip information and rely on what we have already seen. We stop asking questions about some part of the information we gather and just follow and imitate what we are already doing. For example, at school we are drawing this kind of pictures, bunch of red dogberries with a finch, and when we get older then we sell earrings like this on internet, and also put a bunch of red dogberries to provide the same aesthetics we have learned in childhood. And also environmental education. There was 10 years ago, there was an European educational projects. Every kindergarten, almost every kindergarten, got a glove puppet flying fish. Can you see resemblance? This flying fish was flying in the air. And this guy was teaching children environment and sustainability. And the idea behind this puppet, when I analyzed the text, how it was used, was that the tankers are okay, the consumer, the supermarkets are okay, the big traffic is okay, but you are the smart consumer, you have to do those things less. But we don't have to change the infrastructure, we don't have to change our core behavior, but you have to be smart enough and do those things a bit less. And to generalize those tiny vignettes I found was that nature is something distant. It's somewhere in the visiting centers. One teenage guy from school told me that those environmental education visiting centers are damn boring. But it's good they are. They exist because in the visiting centers they can actually see the actual color and actual size of those animals they have been drawing for years or seeing in media. Nature and sustainability is something that you have to do extra. And it's short-living. For example, today we have a campaign for water resources, and tomorrow for something else, and we can just go on preaching without doing actually anything in our ordinary and habitual life. And therefore, what we do is the mediation. Our main core habit is the mediation, not saving the environment. And so that therefore preaching is normalized, but we are given no suitable tools. How children act. Children are not used to think of mediation, they see the shortcuts. For example, they would design living and stop preaching. For example, we don't need education to cross the street because our manner to walk on the street is to follow other people in traffic. We are learned in our early childhood that we'll have to look left and right and left, and we do not expect a car coming from the back of from the back side. We know how to estimate the noise and speed of the car so that we know that whether we can pass the road or not. This is very habitual. We do not think. We think of other things when we cross the roads, and we know that there is a part for the cars and part for the pedestrians. And this is also that we can transfer to sustainable education. That sustainable education should be on our normal path on the normal part of our traffic. It shouldn't demand anything extra from us. For example, that we should look for different zebras in traffic. An example during my presentation is from Finland. It's a siivouspäivä. And the idea is that I don't have to do anything special or extra or in some very distant place to save an environment, but I can just unite it with my everyday habitual practices, that I can go on Saturdays and Sundays on the streets, and I can take my things there, and I don't have to think too much. I don't have to think about environment. I can enjoy the Sunday and have a nice day with those people at the street. So therefore, it's not something peripheral, but very ordinary, and something that we are all experts and masters in. Thank you. Now I have some seconds for questions.
It was an interesting presentation. I'm taking the microphone if anyone has questions. Well, not at this point, which makes you happy because you're in a rush, aren't you?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And our next presentation comes from Finland, from Niina, Mykrä and Jenni Skaffari, Suomesta, tervetuloa taas. And about LYKE network, helping Finnish schools with their education for sustainable development. So the floor is yours.
My name is Niina Mykrä, and I'm an executive director in Nature and Environmental School Association. And I will tell you about this network we have in Finland. It's quite a new network. I'm doing same time my dissertation. I'm a PhD student and doing it about sustainable schools and culture at schools. And I have with me one from the network. You can say yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jenni Skaffari and I work in Tampere Nature School. And I will tell you a few things about what we do in Tampere Nature School with this environmental education and outdoor learning.
So first, why we think that help is needed at schools, or support or aid for schools. 1 of 10 people in Finland, whole population, spends their days at schools. So it's quite a big amount, more than in any enterprise. In any place there isn't so many people within same kind of organization. There are different places, but kind of one organization. So I think it's quite important to concentrate at schools. And school institution nowadays isn't so effective in promoting sustainable lifestyle. I think that it isn't that they have lack of personal choices or knowledge of teachers. There are those practices they have at schools, which are that kind of that the school isn't so sustainable. But we must release this giant potential at schools. And one answer for that is this kind of network we have built in Finland. Network helps these schools with this sustainable lifestyle. This comes, these letters, LYKE, comes from L is luonto, nature, Y is ympäristö, environment, and KE is sustainable lifestyle. So this is shortened of these all words. And in our network, we think that learning must be experimental, experience-based, hands-on learning, and in authentic learning environments. And outdoor learning has also this part that it's very healthy to go outside, and that's the problem in now at society, that we sit with computers too much. In my dissertation, the thing is, what I'm concentrating in is that Mrs. Tilbury talked about that gap which is there. I'm not concentrating in the gap. I'm concentrating in the bridges which we could build in between. My visual idea is that there are already little cracks or little holes there at school, but we must find those holes and then take some wedge and hammer it gently inside and get the wedge bigger, and then the sustainable lifestyle becomes bigger at our schools. But this network then. We have about 60 places around Finland, and they are very different kind of places. First we had these nature schools, then we have environment schools. These don't have pupils of their own. They support these normal schools. There comes groups with their teachers, and they give some training to teachers too. There are now also visitor centers, nature centers within our network, and youth centers and camp schools. So very different kind of places. And overall aim is that every school in Finland and every kindergarten have some place which they can turn to in these questions. All the places offer nature and environmental school programs, and she will tell what kind they could be. And groups for schools and kindergartens comes there. And all the programs are based on the national curriculum. There are different colors in those spots, and we have made certificate for those places. Some of them are development centers, so they try to change the whole area's environmental education and sustainable education. And others are just kind of activity centers. They only give those programs which are good programs, but they give those programs to groups. And there are also some who didn't get yet those certificates, but they are aiming to it, and then some which isn't, they have applied, but board hasn't yet approved them to network. This is NGO organization, so we administrate this network, Finnish Association of Nature and Environment Schools, and we get funds for administration from the Ministry of Education and Culture. And we have this kind of status of National Youth Service Organization. That means that we get every year some money, but the amount differs. And for the organizations, those places, they get money from very different places, from municipalities, most of them, but then funds for youth centers, there is that kind of funds in the Ministry of Education and Culture, and then nature centers come from Metsähallitus, Forestry Ministry, kind of, and then some get money from NGOs, some from private, some are private enterprises, and it helps very much that this network is mentioned in governmental official papers like government platform and child and youth policy program. And then, your turn.
It's my turn. Okay, good. I would like to first ask you, what did you love most in your school time? What was your favorite thing in school? What did you do? What did you want to do? Nobody dares to say anything. Okay, get out of the classroom. Okay, good. Anything else? What kind? Yeah, okay, good. Well, actually, the answer that I wanted to hear just came, the first thing, that I wanted to go outside the classroom. And that's why I think my job is very, I love my job because I can do that. I can get the children outdoors of the classroom and do all kind of functional things there. And with all kind of things that they are doing with themselves. And I also, when this Daniela asked us to write that, what would you, what engages the students and pupils? So I told them that the best thing to engage students is actually that they can do something with themselves. Okay, they can't do it just with the sense what they want to do. And that was also what Natalia said, that experts, do we need experts or don't we need them? So I think we are quite of experts here in nature schools because we know something about this new kinds of methods that is also in Finnish this national curriculum, and we have done this already 10 or 20 years, and we want to encourage the teachers to go also outside, not just in the forest or something like that, but also to have this kind of functional learning experience for the children. And in Tampere, where I work, we are one of those certificate development centers. So we have 2 teachers there, and we are there all the time, and we have all kind of groups there who comes there daily. So we don't have any own classes with ourselves, and that's why it's a little bit different from this regular school in Finland. Okay, so we are one of the part of this organization in Tampere Basic Education, and we have about 5,500 or 6,000 visits per year, and they are in our nature school about 5 hours. So I think it's quite a good number of visitors and all the pupils that we can gather around and have this environmental education. And actually, where we stand, our building, this nature school, we have very lovely riverside there and forest, so we can actually do all kind of experimental things there. Services. As I told you, these are the target groups, and 5 hours per visit they are here, and also we can give some more intense support for some school teachers, and we can be in their own school area also and help with the teachers that how would you go outside of the classroom and do all this environmental education and cross-curriculum education also. How do we spend the day? Actually, I would like to ask you, do you know what this is? What it's supposed to be? Yeah, it's made of acrylic, yes. But it should have some stem here also. It's a leaf. And with this leaf, we teach the students, for example, this photosynthesis, how the light affects us. So how the light affects us, for example. What does the leaf do with the light? It can build their own food, of course, this food. And what else does it need to grow the food? What else the leaf needs to grow the food, other than the light, the sunbeams? Water, yes, that's good. So here we have water, and what else? Yeah, of course, carbon dioxide. So we try to build with this. It's so abstractive to tell what is photosynthesis to the younger children. So we try to play this kind of play also. That was in one theme of the day. That how does the light affect on us? And this is the example of one play, how we play it. And we try to gather around, add here the sugar, that is food for leaf, and what happens when you go all the elements, so all the alkuaine elements, or the oxygen, for example, and carbon and they have to build this sugar, and you get what also out of it. Than food, what comes, oxygen for us also. But I have time for you to play this game, but still we have this one theme per day, and this is just an example of what the fourth graders are doing with this nature school. Yes, and the main thing is that we cross-curriculum all kind of school subjects, and I think it has worked very well. And they want to come here and have the ideas how they would work also in their own school area. And we can also support them with this intense support in some groups at a time at the year. So I think it's very nice that I really can do this kind of job. That somebody told me that how this environmental education is going to be actualized, and I think I do that. So it's very nice to see that also. I think that was our time now. If you want to ask something, please. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
We have two poster presentations here. Other is kind of van, because you see there is this 60 places in our network. It's too little now. We have had a project where we have this kind of car. It's a model that could be taken to any municipality. There are programs for that, and there are how to build that car, what you need to that car. And we have video poster here. Please come and look, it's nice. And then we have this kind of material bank. We are trying to make internet one place where everything in Finnish in this environmental education field is like practices like this, and anyone could put their ideas, but we have already collected those best practices. Now it's about 900 practices there already, but it's in Finnish, so somebody could understand Finnish too and come to look, and that's upstairs, that poster.
Thank you, then we know where to follow this. So it was really a very good presentation about practical activities and what we can really do and reach children. And I think we definitely have questions from the audience.
here.
So thank you very much indeed. My question is actually about, probably you have answered to it several times over this conference already, but I was not attending those sessions probably. But my interest is, what is the main difference between a certified nature house and non-certified nature house in Finland?
In Finland, this certified, there are nature houses, yes. This forestry ministry or Metsähallitus keeps those, but the Metsähallitus has decided that only 4 of them are in this sustainable development and education. Others concentrate in some other things, like whole population. These 4 are only for which concentrate teaching these schools and kindergartens. Other has wider audience, kind of. And in our network, we concentrate in schools and kindergartens, because if you concentrate, you can do that thing better, which you concentrate in.
So it was decided by Metsähallitus?
Yeah. Yes, those nature centers, but we have so many kinds of, it's only one part of our centers, these nature centers. We have so many kinds of places in our network.
Okay, any other questions? You have a question? No?
Come to presentation.
Okay, seems that thank you, and we can continue the conversation with you during the lunchtime.
Yes, welcome to that talk.
And
I'm sorry, I have some magazines in Finnish, if somebody understands, so there is quite nice.
Thank you. And if we don't understand Finnish, we can look at the pictures.
Nice pictures also.
But now I really must say that it is my personal honor to introduce the next presenter, Wolfgang Brunner from Sweden. And those who haven't had the time yet to ask what bottle is it on the table will definitely get the answer now. So, Wolfgang, the floor is yours 100%.
Thank you very much. I will just have to clean the surroundings a little bit here for a bottle. Maybe I'd even put it a little bit more in the forefront. Could I have the... What is it not?
Oh, he's coming.
Is it? Could I have it on that screen as well? Okay, it is a pleasure to be here. My name is Wolfgang Brunner. For the technician here, could you please turn the sound down a little bit? Because to me it's a little bit too loud. And maybe...
We were just loud.
So, is that okay? You still hear me up there? Yes, I work at Swedest, the Swedish International Center of Education for Sustainable Development, and I'm pleased to be invited here with Rea. And I will try to give an example on how to bring ESD home, like Natalia mentioned today. So a little short background, a very brief thing about the sustainability cloud in my head after this marvelous conference, and maybe if I have time, I will also present a navigation tool for how to deal with your cloud in the head and make sure that you can do something when you come home. And then I have a practical example. And I during the preparations I have twisted my PowerPoint a number of times, and so I will actually start with a practical example. But first, I have 7 grandchildren. That really influences me, and that also makes the future very important, and of course also sustainability. They help me to see the vital things, what really connects you to your surroundings and to your beloved ones and to society. So this is very important to me. Then one more thing. I have a very strong feeling that individuals don't exist. We are all interbeings. Every breath I take, in every breath I take, I confirm my connectedness to the ecosystem services provided by our surroundings. Every meal I eat, and so on. So this also has influenced me very much, and I have tried to develop methods to create this or recreate a feeling of connectedness. And my little bottle here has also influenced me a lot, because to me this is a model of an ecosystem, of our biosphere, with the planetary boundaries, with the recycling of resources, with the solar energy coming in, and all the balances inside here. So this is a very good model for talking about sustainability issues. I always have one in my classroom. And during the learning periods, the bottle will become more and more magic to my students. They get a deeper and deeper understanding of how fantastic the bottle really is. So this is a model of our society or of our biosphere, and I will also present a little bit a bigger model of how to understand sustainability. So then I have worked a couple of years now for Swedest, trying to influence teacher education institutions in Southern Africa to bring in sustainability issues. And in that work, we have learned a number of things, and some of these things I will present here today. So we have all been participating in this marvelous conference organized by these dedicated people, and we have and how can we digest this, and how can we bring this home and create action at home? And to me, my head is full of what I would call a sustainability cloud. All these marvelous presentations, all these perspectives, all these concepts, and so on that we have used. And now I have to try to digest this in a way. And wouldn't it be great when I come home that at least I could make one new workshop or one new single lesson as a result of this conference? And as I see it, this is my task. When I come home, I have to do something. And even better, maybe I could even have develop a new course or a beautiful lesson sequence. And in order to be able to do this, you need some kind of a navigation tool, because the cloud is so big and it has so many elements, and it is so complex that when I will try to translate this into action at home, it is sometimes quite difficult to do that. And so what I would like to present, if I have time, is a lesson sequence and a navigation tool. And I will start with the lesson sequence because that says very much about also what Daniela talked about, transformative pedagogy. So I will look into that classroom example first. Take the it works. And how do I do it now? Here. Yeah. So I will present to you an examination task that I have used very much in the 9th grade in the Swedish school system, but also very much in teacher education and as an introduction to courses in sustainability and so on. And it goes like this. I invite my students to the greatest adventure in the history of mankind, and they should equip a giant spaceship for a very long journey, and the conditions are like this. The journey will last for 6,000 years. You have access to solar energy during the entire trip. There must be no more than 100 persons on board the spaceship at the same time. What will you bring? So this is the starting point of the question, this question of the task. What will you bring? And the students sit for 5 minutes and just write down what pops up in their heads. And then I form groups and they share their first ideas with each other. And the task for the group now is to design a spaceship that is so smart, inviting, and clever that everyone else would like to join their spaceship. And in the beginning, there is a little bit of a confusion, of course, a lot of disparate ideas, and I could, for instance, tell them that the spaceship looks something like this, but you can redesign it. I can take care of the engine and make it fly, but you are responsible for the entire inner of the spaceship because it's totally empty. And so gradually they fill their spaceship with everything they long for, and they ask me, can I bring whatever I like? Yes, of course. Everything that you think is important, you should put inside the spaceship. And of course, there will be a mixture of big and small things, of important and less important things. And to help them organize or structure their thinking, I can have some elements. For instance, I could ask them to just first concentrate on the basic needs for survival. Make sure that you have oxygen, food, water. You could also call them ecosystem services, that they are available at your spaceship. Later on, you can think of other things. So gradually, they build up a model of a sustainable society, you could say. The first element is the ecosystem services. But that isn't enough to create sustainability, because you need many other dimensions in a society to create sustainability. So they will go into what the society looks like, governance, lifestyle, production, consumption, habits, ethics and values. And by combining or connecting these dimensions, gradually sustainability emerges in their heads as a result of the combination process. So after a while, they can summarize a number of elements that together create sustainability. and I can ask them to come up with the first document where they describe this, and then I challenge them a little bit more. I say, you know what happened? In your spaceship, you suddenly discover, or and it often gets as silent as in here. And I ask them, solve the problem. Or the first step could be actually, what was missing in your spaceship that made these problems occur? What was missing? And the second step in this process, how can we overcome these type of problems? So as you see, you can get into very deep discussions about complicated issues, and they compare the bottle with the spaceship and the spaceship with planet Earth more and more. So the spaceship, of course, is just a model to understand or understand sustainability better. And then I can stimulate them because they are supposed to make some kind of a drawing or illustration of their spaceship, and I can come up with some pictures to stimulate their thinking. So I have done this since 1983 in many different circumstances, and if you analyze the learning process, the meaning-making process, it is something like this. At the first occasion, when I asked them to, the first question, what will you bring? It can look like this. And the meaning of life is like this. And they really ask, can I bring whatever I like? Yeah, everything you think is important, just take it on board. I don't stop them. Because after a while, they realize that this is not possible. It is not sustainable. This type of linear flow from with resources and maximum consumption, and they get into a crisis. They say, who takes care of all this advanced technology? Or is it possible to produce air out of chemicals? Or water, where does it come from? They can say, oh, let's put a tap on the wall of the spaceship. And as soon as they have put a tap there, they realize, okay, where does the water come from? And how big is the tank? So, in this second version, the second step is very demanding for them, because one of my students wrote in his report, first I filled my spaceship with everything I longed for. Then I realized it wasn't possible. Then I mourned for 3 lessons. And I think our society is just in the transition between maximum consumption and the discussion of a deeper meaning of our life. But the students have to find a way to overcome these difficulties. And often it starts with the food. If you could grow some food inside, a greenhouse, and the greenhouse slowly becomes bigger and bigger and actually becomes the ecosystem. And so they rediscover the vital elements of an ecosystem, and also how humans should relate to it. And this is also an illustration of the learning process that is taking place. And if I look at their worldviews In the beginning, it could be like this. The most important part of the spaceship is the huge storage room, and they are dependent on a linear flow of resources, products, and waste. And they have to invent a waste hatch. They throw the waste into space. And I say, sorry, there is no waste hatch. You can't throw things away. And that forces them to go into the recycling mood, the necessity of recycling things. And if this process continues for a while, they will discover that their spaceship will become round like this. And in the beginning it was empty, and now the students have filled this with all these items, and they know the purpose of why they are necessary, and how they connect and relate to each other. And they understand the world, and they love it. And if I ask them, what is the name of your spaceship? Well, it is something like this: New Eden, or Paradise, or the Love Machine. The mission is a way of modeling a sustainable society and gradually building it so that you understand it. And the bottle is a good smaller model to help them in this, as well as the spaceship is a model to understand sustainability issues on a planetary scale. And if you look into the learning fields that they address in this, I will go a little further here. I have to stop now. Here. If we look into the competencies we are training during this course, and the content and the pedagogic methods, they all are in line with, as I see it, with the latest ideas about competencies for sustainability, or necessary content and methods for a teacher. So this was a small classroom example on how to, from this cloud of ESD or sustainability, to try to bring this into the classroom, and how it can be doable. Because all the concepts you spoke about this morning, they actually are, they use them more or less in their discussions with the spaceship. So it is a way of making meaning to these concepts. Okay, I think I will stop here.
Forgot to take the time meanwhile, so you had a little bit more time. I hope everybody apologizes here for my not being disciplined in taking the time, but I'm very biased in here. And for me, Wolfgang's methods, they're really wrapping up everything what I personally see also what is the sustainability education is about, is actually making life understandable, simple, empathic, and yet having all those scientific frameworks there. So, and I know quite similar methods being developed in Scotland. I'm not sure if Sue is sitting here. No, yes, she is. You remind me of each other. I don't know, somehow. So, yeah, I didn't mean the outlooks. So, any questions? Any questions?
Yes, please.
Hi, Kadi from Let's Do It World. Going back to the very start, you had a an expectation, a rather low one, that you'd like to leave here with at least one idea that you could implement when you go back, a new idea for a class. My question actually has two parts. One would be that was this expectation filled, and which idea would it be that when you'd go back now, what would you implement in school or in a class? And the second one would be, why is it only one?
No, you know, I have experienced so many conferences, and you walk away with your head full of this cloud and a lot of beautiful ideas and theories. And then you meet your kids in the classroom, and they are 14-year-old, and they're full of hormones. And there are a lot of challenges to be a teacher. So it actually is a big job to extract from this cloud things that can be done in the classroom. And sometimes only one new lesson is the result of participating in a classroom. Sometimes it is a new course or a sequence of lessons. But to be honest, it is difficult. We will all go home now. And how can we do something good about what we have learned here? It is a challenge for all of us. And can we help each other? That would be great. So this was for me one example of what could be done. Just to inform you, we have made an online course based on the mission and also an English version that will be ready in a couple of weeks. And that could be accessible for all of you. So if you follow us at our homepage in Svedest, we will present when it is up and running.
And the other part was that, do you already have in your mind the idea that you're carrying with you and thinking you definitely want to try out?
Yes. I don't know if I understand the question right.
Well, you brought your idea, and teachers could go back and implement that. Yeah. So did you pick up something that you now want to? Yes,
definitely. And it will take some time to digest, and out comes something that can be part of a workshop or a new type of question or a new type of approaching people and so on. But I can't say it immediately to you. I will just do this. To be honest, it takes some time, and I think it should.
Any other questions?
Yes.
I thought so. Can you pass the microphone?
Well, it's very simple. I'm just wondering whether you could write books with your methods.
I have a here's and it's also available on the internet on our homepage. You can download both this and how to maintain a bottle and other pedagogic pieces that we have developed. So, yes, please.
So I'm just repeating the question, what were the, have you experienced any obstacles or failures about the method, yes? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, for me as a teacher, to open the floor with the question, what would you bring? And then being dependent on what the students do, of course, is a challenge. But it really is an adventurous journey together with them. And if you are a little bit open-minded, and if you discuss things with the students instead of having a role of putting the answers or the questions or the answers. So I often get into it's a situation where the groups, they call upon me, Wolfgang, come here, we have to discuss this issue, we disagree on this and that, can you help us? And I sit down and discuss things with them. And I, of course, also try to come up with a number of provocations or level up questions or comments. But I never tell them that anything is wrong. Or why do you do it like this? Or this doesn't function. They have to find it out themselves. That is a vital part of the learning process. Because if they, by themselves, take things away from their spaceship that they realize not is sustainable, then it is win for them. They have gained something. But if I tell them, why do you have this or that, then they lose. So it is so important that they do this cleaning process, their own mental cleaning process, where they remove unsustainability, as Arjen, to remove unsustainability, and what remains is the sustainable or sustainability. Often I see me as some kind of a, when you create a statue, it is hidden within the block. And what we are trying to do when we unveil sustainability is by removing everything that is not sustainable, and then the shining beauty of Michelangelo will appear as what we call sustainability. Sometimes I see it as sustainability is like health. It is when many different parts work together in a good way. And it is difficult to describe health, but you immediately feel it. And, so we have to find different ways of describing these issues and sitting down and talking to our students about this. And they love it. They rush into the classroom and I have to say, sorry, we have to finish now. And they approach me in dining hall and they have new ideas about their spaceships. So, and I've done it with many different audiences, with scientists, with teachers, they are a difficult group, and with politicians and so on. So it works for any type of constellation, because it puts you in center. What would you bring? And you have to argue why this is important and how it creates sustainability.
And I would close the session up with a word that I second to that, and my own personal experience is that learning myself sustainability together with my students is hell easy. Because if you approach it like that, as a human to human on your core level, they always understand it and they love it.
They love it.
So I think this is a good ending to today's sessions before lunch, that we have talked so much about sustainability being a challenge and complicated, but sometimes it seems really easy. So have a good appetite. Thank you.